What's going on, guys? It's KLA, Cloud the Wanderer. And yeah, that was the intro of my guest, Kristin Mackay. She's a fitness, uh, you're not a fitness instructor, right?
I am a health and fitness coach. Online
Okay,
health and
health and
fitness coach.
fitness coach. Okay, I wasn't sure like to say it because I know you're trying to get you're taking courses on getting like a fitness degree.
Yes.
So yeah. So how you been?
I am doing very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm super. Yeah, thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak with you. And yeah, I was watching, I was looking at your Instagram. I was kind of impressed. Wow, she has a nice physique. I was wondering if you compete as a bodybuilder.
So I have not yet. However, I have been urged by many people, especially people who have competed, have approached me in the gym and said, "Oh my gosh, do you compete?" And I'm like, "No, I haven't yet." And they're like, "Do it." So I have a new development, and that is that I am actually going to be competing in approximately 8 weeks. I will be competing at the NPC Naturals Show in Anaheim, California. It's the first weekend of July. I'm sorry, the first weekend of August. I will be competing for the very first time. And I am super excited, a little nervous, but mostly excited because it's something that I've been considering for quite some time now.
Yeah. What division would you be in doing?
So I will be doing figure. I am
Okay.
also going to be in the masters division. Probably be doing masters over 35 and masters over 40 because I am 42. So I will be competing in the figure division. Yes.
Yeah. Well, somebody on the chat says Damien J look great regardless, Kristen. Yeah, I mean you have a nice physique. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. How did you get into fitness?
So the interesting thing was growing up, I was not athletic. I was not into sports. In fact, I avoided all physical activity. I hated physical education in school. I was in band growing up. I was in marching band up until I graduated high school. It wasn't until I got into college that I started going to the gym. So that was about 20 years ago. And I haven't stopped. I've been in the gym for 20 years now. But it has definitely been a journey and it has changed throughout the years. I started out just basically doing a bunch of cardio because I was afraid to weight train as a female. It was intimidating and I didn't want to look like a guy. I didn't want to be super muscular. So for most of that time, I did cardio. I've had 3 children and I did work out through all 3 of my pregnancies. Which, by the way, I highly recommend for expectant mothers to do. If you are able to, if you have the okay from your doctor, I highly recommend you do that throughout your pregnancy because it helps with the pregnancy symptoms, it helps with labor and delivery, and it helps with recovery afterwards. Absolutely. I did that with all 3 of my kids. So if you are able to, if the doctor gives you the okay, absolutely, I recommend doing that. So after my 3rd child was born, my son, about 7 or 8 years ago, I decided I was going to get into weight training. I was actually suffering from postpartum depression. I was in a very low place in life, and I knew I needed to get back in the gym and do something, and I did. And I thought, I'm going to try weight training, and I'm going to dial in my nutrition. And it didn't happen overnight. And there were times that I was discouraged that I wasn't making progress, but let me tell you, I started seeing the biggest results from that. When I started weight training, when I started dialing in my nutrition and eating better, that is when I saw the biggest change in my physique. If you're a female and you want to get toned, doing hours and hours of cardio is not going to get you toned. And it took me a long time to realize that. And I'm kicking myself now for not starting weight training earlier. Because to look toned, you have to build muscle and you have to weight train. And I did. And I haven't stopped.
What?
Best
Oh,
thing I did.
yeah.
Yep.
Why didn't you couldn't afford a coach?
I'm sorry?
Did you couldn't afford a coach? Like, did you do it by yourself or
I
you
did it
did you
all by
what?
myself. I have
Oh
never
yeah,
used a trainer. I have never used a coach. I've accomplished everything I have on my own.
yeah.
Uh, and in the beginning, it was hard because I didn't feel like I was making any progress because it was slow. But I kept going and I kept going, and eventually I started seeing little changes in the mirror. I started seeing my clothing fitting differently, and I'm not talking about scale. I'm not talking about numbers on the scale here. I'm talking about visible results I started seeing, and that's what got me motivated to keep working and keep working. And eventually, I started just seeing phenomenal changes in my physique, which translated into having more confidence, having I I got out of my depression that I was in, um, and now I look forward to going to the gym. I am in the gym 7 days a week because I
How,
absolutely love it.
yeah. How long you stay there?
So I usually go 7 days a week. I am there 2 hours, give or
Yeah,
take, because I
yeah.
do both cardio and weight training every single day.
Right. Yeah, it seemed like somebody was saying the same story like months ago. I interviewed a young lady. She's about your age, and she started off doing it by herself through YouTube. Like, was you learning through YouTube or you was learning through books?
I was learning as I went along.
No.
I just kept going. And quite honestly, I had people approach me in the gym because it can absolutely be intimidating when you're first, especially when you're first starting out. And I was intimidated. I didn't know what I was doing. I wasn't doing things properly. So I urge people who feel that way, who maybe are just starting out, don't be afraid to ask people for assistance and help and guidance in the gym. I have people come up to me and ask me all the time, and they're like, "I'm sorry, I don't want to bother you." And I'm like, "No, you're not bothering me. It's better to get advice and do things the right way using proper form so you don't injure yourself. Nobody wants you to hurt yourself. So don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask for help." And I absolutely had people approach me when I was first starting out and say, "Hey, can I help you? Can I show you the proper way to do this?" And I was so grateful for that. I really, really was, because I still would have been doing things wrong if somebody hadn't shown me. So really, it was just me going and just over time figuring things out, having kind people here and there help me along the way. So yeah, I didn't watch any YouTube videos or anything like that.
No, I just asked because it seemed like it's similar, but that's good that people approach you, because I've heard stories where people felt discouraged because other people, they felt intimidated by other people in the gym, and
Yeah,
stopped going. It's not an excuse. I mean, you're making that about you. If you want something, if you really want to do it, you'll do it.
right,
You can even work out at home.
right.
People can all type of stuff you can do. I would work out. Like, I never used to go to the gym like that. I would go to the park and work out, exercise, stuff like that, pull ups and dips, and set up like stuff for my abs and stuff like that. Yeah. So
So what I tell people when they say, it's intimidating, I say, I I want people to understand that everybody starts somewhere. Everybody was a beginner. I was a beginner. Everybody is in different places in their health and fitness journey. And another thing is, you have to kind of get out of your own head, and you have to realize that people aren't paying attention to you the way you think they are. You
yeah,
think, "Oh, everybody's watching me, everybody's staring at me and critiquing me." No, everybody who's in the gym is worried about what they're doing, not what you're doing. And you have to kind of remind yourself of that, like, "Oh, everybody's here just working on themselves, trying to better themselves. They're not worried about what I'm doing or paying attention to what I'm doing." But you have to remind yourself of that, because yeah, it can be kind of nerve-wracking and intimidating, but everybody's kind of just doing their own thing.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Damien J. Fitness Training Lesson 101: Women never be intimidated or scared of training hard in the gym. You won't look masculine. You will still stay feminine if you do the right thing for your body. Yeah, I mean, like, like that, a lot of people that they think that way, that if they work out in the gym, they're gonna look like a man and stuff. I think, in my opinion, it's the hardcore stuff that they do, like in certain things that they take, like pegs and all that stuff, and their voice sound kind of masculine.
So,
Yeah,
yes, uh, females, we
yeah,
do not have the genetics to put on muscle like a man.
right,
We just don't. You can lift heavy and you can lift weights like a mad woman, and you are not going to build muscle like a man.
right,
You're not genetically built to do that. The only women that are capable of building muscle to that extent are taking performance enhancing drugs. And that is how they get as big as they do. And that is how they get as masculine, if you want to call it that, because they're on performance enhancing drugs. Natural females, you will not look like that. Because I think there's that misconception, because we see those women on social media and we get in our heads like, oh gosh, if I lift weights, I'm going to look huge. You won't.
yeah. It's a process. Yeah, but even to them, they work hard too. It's just that certain things that they do, just to take it to the next level with it. I would say there's limits to it. But did you ever thought about like doing like a natural bodybuilding show like OCB or some type of organization? I know you trying to do the NPC, but you
That is
ever
a
had?
natural competition. Yes.
Oh, okay, all right,
I do not take performance enhancing drugs. I never have. So
all right,
yes, my first competition I will be doing in August is a
okay.
natural competition put on by the MPC right here in Southern California. Yeah.
How do you feel?
About the
Like,
competition?
yeah, yeah. How do you feel
So
like preparing, and like what would like how was your prep and like just training? Do you have a coach or?
I do not have a trainer or a fitness coach that I am working with currently.
Okay,
Um I in speaking with IFBB pros who have competed that go to my gym, they have told me that I probably don't need a fitness and a trainer or a fitness and yeah, a trainer, because I've been doing it for so long that I kind of already know what to do. But I absolutely have a posing coach that I just hired, and I'm having my first posing session with her next week. And so yes, because posing, I've heard, can make or break you. You can have a phenomenal physique, but if you
mm,
can't pose and you can't display your physique properly, you won't do well. So I absolutely needed that. I'm hoping I can get by with just self training because I have
mm,
confidence that I know what to do. Like maybe my posing coach will be able to give me some critiquing here and there as I'm posing. Maybe she'll say, "Oh, your glutes need more work," or your shoulders, maybe work your shoulders more. But I'm hoping I can do it myself.
mm.
And like I said, this is something I've been considering for quite some time, and I am excited. I'm I this is something that I truly have a passion for and truly just find enjoyment in. And if I
Right.
can display, what I've worked so hard for, even better.
Yeah, yeah. You're looking great. Working
Thank you.
out. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, you're not the first person that not to have a coach, in competing. There's others that have done that.
Right.
Some are bodybuilding legends and stuff. Yeah, so yeah. So how far do
I
you
will
want to?
be,
How far do you see yourself? What was that?
oh, I was going to say the thing that I'm probably more concerned about is the nutrition, because there is a whole
Yeah.
science behind what you eat, how far out. Like peak week is different from any other one of the weeks. You know, you have to dial in your nutrition like to the T. And I'm going to hopefully find some good information online as far as the nutrition side goes, because I know that's probably even more important than the actual training side of it.
Yeah. What was like trying to abandon like the unhealthy foods? Like, you know, were there foods that you was like really addictive to eat, and it was really hard to break out of that?
Absolutely. For me, it's sweets. For me,
Yeah.
it's I have a big sweet tooth, and that has probably been the hardest for me. I like to call those trigger foods.
Mm,
And what I advise people to do when they're trying to take their health and fitness seriously is know your trigger foods and do your best to keep them out of the house completely. If you want those things every once in a while, try to have them outside the house, because once you bring them into the house, like you're going to be tempted to like go into the pantry and get the, you know, get into those things. uh, but if you make it a point to not even have them in the house, then it's not even an option for you. Over time, I've gotten better about things to where I've found alternatives for my sweet tooth, like sugar-free alternatives that I
yeah.
still get that like flavor, that sweet flavor, but it's not got a ton of calories and sugar in it. So there's little tricks you can do, like if you know, like, oh, I like salty or savory things. You try to find foods that fit that but are healthier for you, for
Yeah.
instance.
What's
Yeah.
your kryptonite? Like what's your favorite food?
Uh, well, sweet. You mean as far as sweets
Sweet.
go?
Yeah, sweet. Yeah, sweet.
Chocolate all the way. Give me all the chocolate. Chocolate and peanut butter, chocolate and toffee. Oh yeah, like a big slab of chocolate cake with like chocolate frosting on it,
Yeah.
chocolate ice cream.
Yeah.
But so like if I want chocolate, I'll get like I'll make like I call it my dessert. I do a Greek yogurt, and then I mix in like sugar-free flavored jello mix, cuz so it gives it kind of a moussey texture and it gives it more flavor. Then I'll put in sugar-free chocolate chips. So I get my chocolate, but it's way less calories, way less sugar. Um, and then maybe I'll add some like mixed berries or something into it and like a dollop of whipped cream, and that's my dessert. But it has protein, way less calories, and it's way healthier for me, and it still satisfies that sweet tooth for me. So it's
Yeah.
just about, it's about finding, compromising, like finding foods that are better for you.
Yeah.
But you absolutely have to like what you eat.
Yeah.
You
You
have to
said
like,
Greek
because
yogurt? I'm not a fan of Greek yogurt.
that's why I recommend adding the sugar-free
Yeah.
pudding mix, because
Okay.
like they have a cheesecake flavor, chocolate. I've done butterscotch, so it adds flavor,
Yeah.
and it's only like 25 extra calories, and it adds flavor, and I think it makes the texture better, because I'm not a fan of the texture of Greek yogurt either. But like I do a cheesecake. I call it my protein cheesecake, where I do the cheesecake sugar-free jello pudding mix, and I mix it in with the Greek yogurt, and it tastes like the inside of cheesecake. And then you can add your
Yeah.
berries, you can add your whipped cream, and it's good for you.
Yeah. Maybe you should put it online. Maybe somebody could try that out.
I have an Instagram. I put my recipes and my workouts on my Instagram page.
Oh,
People,
okay. Maybe we could take a look. But this guy, he dropping so much comments. I might as well read it. He says, "Okay, he did that. Always great to learn anything you can, especially if women are overdosing on the peds, taking much more than required. It will affect their body in an unnatural way." And then he's very impressive abs, Kristen, and chocolate lover Willy Wonka would be so proud of you. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Um, but it's honestly, I mean, it's honestly about finding foods that are good for you, that keep you on track, but that you enjoy eating. Because if you don't like the taste of it, if you don't enjoy eating it, you're not going to stick with it. And I think that's the
Yeah,
problem that a lot of people run into, is they think, "Oh, I got to eat chicken, rice and broccoli. I hate chicken, rice and broccoli." Then don't eat it. You have
that's
to
the
find.
bodybuilder move. That's the bodybuilder. Sorry, to cut you up. That's the bodybuilder. That's what they eat a lot.
Right.
Chicken and broccoli.
Right.
Yeah,
That's usually when they're like in prep or something, which I totally get, but that's temporary. You have to make it a lifestyle. You have to, what you eat should be a long-term way of eating, because otherwise you're not going to stick with it,
right.
and you're going to go back to your old ways. So you have to find foods that are lower in calories, that are lower in fat, and higher in protein, but that you still want to eat. And that's, obviously that's going to be
Yeah,
different for everything, what that means. But you have to
yeah,
like what you. I like what I eat, and I meal prep, but I make sure it's something I want to eat.
right. And this is what you was talking about. The Greek yogurt and the
Yeah,
okay. Can you
those are
see?
some
Yeah.
things
Okay.
that those are things that I pick up at Costco when I go. Some.
Oh, okay. Yeah. 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 Like, what are you like in terms of like eating healthy? Like, what are you like? Do you eat meat or?
I'm actually vegetarian,
Oh,
which
okay.
a lot of people are surprised to hear, because they don't expect a vegetarian, to actually have muscle. But you absolutely can build muscle and be vegetarian. You just have to get more creative with your protein sources, but it can be done.
Yeah.
And I've been
You're not the
vegetarian.
first. Yeah.
I've been vegetarian for most of my life, so I'm very accustomed to
Yeah.
eating this way. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't mean to cut you off. I was saying
Oh no.
you're not the first bodybuilder. I've spoken to a bodybuilder that they're vegan and they do an OCB show and they eat plant based food and I'm like,
So
ugh. I try to do
I
the
do
plant based thing and that I did not like.
So I do a lot of plant-based meat.
Uh,
They call it plant-based meat. But I do eat milk products like cheese, Greek yogurt, obviously milk. I do milk products, and I do eggs, because I eat egg whites constantly. That's a big source of protein for me, because
okay.
it's lower in
Yeah.
calories and you still get the protein.
Yeah. Yeah. Like that don't make your stomach run sometimes. I don't know. Sometimes if I eat it too much, I don't know. It seemed like it go, I gotta go to the bathroom or something. I don't know. I'm just asking out.
So I will say, especially when you start eating differently, like let's say you've been eating garbage for the last 10 years, and all of a sudden you're like, I'm going to start eating healthy. You will find that maybe your body doesn't like that at first, because you're putting different
Yeah.
things in your body that it's not accustomed to. So, what I recommend people do, and I do myself, is take a digestive enzyme, which I take every time I eat after my meal, and it just helps break things down better. Helps break down protein, carbs, um, and you don't get the bloating and the discomfort and indigestion. Also, taking a probiotic every day helps as well, and I do that as well. So I do recommend people take a probiotic and take a digestive enzyme, especially when you're first starting out, when your diet is changing pretty extremely. Your body will thank you. And
Yeah.
you can find
Yeah.
those like on Amazon, like, or in pretty much any store really, but I get them on Amazon.
Yeah. How did you like improve your knowledge on nutrition? Was it like through bodybuilders or like on your own?
Um, so it's just taken a lot of trial and error. I follow different YouTubers,
Okay.
that put a lot of nutrition information out there. So I've taken things from various YouTubers that I follow and applied them, and just kind of seen how my body reacts. And it's just a matter of, like, you find what foods you like and what foods you don't, and what your body likes and what your body doesn't like, because everybody has different,
Yeah.
different digestive systems, and some people are obviously, sensitive to certain things or allergic to certain things. So yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Because like it's not easy, like eating healthy. It's a lot of practice. I would say it's more. I don't want to say intense, but it's a lot than just lifting weights, if I could
Right.
say that. Because it's easy. Well, I ain't gonna say it's easy, because even to some people, like exercising, it's not easy itself too. But it's just as hard as exercising, nutrition.
I always say I think the nutrition side is more difficult, because
Yeah,
personally, I love going to the gym. I love working out, and I think a lot of people do. And a lot of people, what happens is they go to the gym and they get a great workout in, and then when it comes to the nutrition part, they sabotage all the work that they just put in the gym, and that's why they're not seeing results, because they don't realize how important the nutrition part is. I tell people it's maybe even more important, because you need to fuel your body properly. You can work out for hours in the gym, and then you can go screw it up with what you're putting in it, and sabotage your goals, and that's why you're not making progress. The nutrition is so, so important.
yeah. What's your thoughts on people, like modern day people, and fast foods?
So I 100% understand that it's a convenience thing. I mean, people don't want to cook. Maybe they get home from work and they're like, oh, I don't want to go home and prepare something. I just want to pick something up on the way home. It's easier. It used to be cheaper, but actually, I don't think that's the case anymore. I've been to fast food places recently, and I can't believe how expensive it's gotten,
Yeah,
honestly, for fast food.
yeah,
So I don't even think it's cheaper anymore. But what I tell people is, you go get fast food because it's convenient. Uh, but here's the thing: I meal prep every week, and what I do is I pick a day, 1 day a week, and I do all of my meal prep for the entire week. So I'm not left to my own devices when it's time to eat a meal. It's already prepared for me. It's already in the refrigerator waiting for me. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to prepare anything. So really, all you're doing with the meal prep is you're doing the prep 1 day, then the rest of the week it's made for you. So you don't prepare anything. That's the point of it. That's the point of the meal prep. So when people make the excuse of, oh, it's too much work, it's too much prep, it's like, well, not really. And I think right now, I think it's actually cheaper, to be honest. Like, I mean, just to buy some ground turkey, some lean ground beef, it's not that expensive. And I don't think produce is too expensive either. It takes you taking that time out 1 day a week and doing your meal prep, but then the rest of the week it's already done for you, and you can just grab it and eat it instead of being left to your own devices. Because I think most of us, if we're like starving, we just want to grab something that sounds good, and usually that's not something that's good for us.
mm,
that's when the fast food cravings creep in. We're like, oh, I just want to go get a burger. But if you have your meal prep already made in the refrigerator, you don't have that excuse.
yeah. So you got 3 kids. Like, how do you encourage them to eat healthy?
Oh, my kids are so picky. They don't. I can't get them to eat what I eat.
Yeah,
I've tried. I sneak things in here and there, and so I have 2 teenage girls. I know, 2 teenage girls, and I have an 8-year-old son. And my 8-year-old son is probably the pickiest kid on the planet. He eats 3 foods, and that's it.
yeah,
So I do my best. What I try to do is I try to stock the pantry full of healthy protein packed snacks. So even if maybe their meals aren't that great, at least they have healthy snack options. But yeah, I do like try to ground turkey, or beef. The things that I use to prepare their meals are healthier.
Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah.
kids are healthy.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I was kind of like a picky eater, sometimes, because there were times my mother would cook stuff and I wouldn't want to eat it, and it was like to a point I was getting real skinny and stuff. I was like 14 and I weighed like 80 pounds and stuff like that.
Wow.
So yeah, so I
I
think
have
when I
gotten my
was away, huh?
I was gonna
No,
say
I
I
would.
have gotten my 8-year-old son turned on to protein bars, and they
Yeah,
have now you can purchase kids protein shakes too, made especially for kids. So he likes those to get in some extra protein. Like sometimes you do have to supplement when you have a kid that doesn't eat, which I think a
yeah,
lot of parents deal with, that picky eater that doesn't want to eat. Sometimes you have to supplement with like a protein bar or a protein drink. And I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, that's not real food," but it's like, well,
it
it's either
helps.
that or your kid doesn't get the nutrients they need.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, it
right?
helps. It helps.
Yeah.
I don't even think when I was a kid they had protein drinks like that. I'm 49, so I don't know. You know, yeah, because a lot of times it would just be fast foods, and they weren't like back then. They wasn't so conscious how it is now. You know,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
yeah. So Greek yogurt can also be a part of what bodybuilders eat before prep of a competition. Eggs, protein powder, shakes, brown rice, sweet potatoes, whole grains. And I'm not sure what this is. Quena? I
Oh,
don't know.
quinoa. Quinoa. Yeah.
Kiwa? What is that?
Yep. It's like a grain.
Oh,
It's kind of like prepared similar to how you would prepare rice.
oh, okay.
You kind of steam it, and it's just an alternative to rice. Usually, you can throw veggies in it or mix it with meat or whatever. I do. That kind of reminded me of something that I wanted to touch on, though, is that I feel like a lot of people are afraid to eat carbs, and I
Mm.
want to tell people you don't need to be afraid to eat carbs. You should be afraid of eating the wrong carbs, though. Make sure the carbs are good carbs, like brown rice is a good one, sweet potatoes. Um, but people are so like carb conscious, and carbs don't make you fat. Excess calories make you fat. And I feel like
Yeah.
people, there's this misconception that, oh, if I eat too many carbs, it's going to make me fat. It's like, no, your body needs carbs. Your body needs it for cognitive function and energy. The problem is when you're eating too many calories. It's not, carbs aren't the enemy. It's excess calories that are the enemy.
I got you. You constantly eating it. It's what's that word? Macros.
Oh,
Like
macros. Yeah, yeah,
counting
yeah.
macros, counting your calories and stuff like that. Yeah, I probably need to start doing that. So yeah, like well, you trying to get your fitness degree? Like,
So for a long time, I've wanted to become an online health and fitness. I'm so passionate about health and fitness. It is such a huge part of my life, and I absolutely love it. And I want to help other people reach their health and fitness goals. And I think that would be so rewarding to be a part of that journey with people, watching their lives transform, their bodies transform, because I know how exciting it was for me when that started happening, and I would just love to be a part of that in someone else's life and watch them get excited when they start seeing changes. And so that's something I've been considering for a while. So I am in right now. I'm taking courses to get my nutrition and training certification. So I have that. So I'm official and I can start online coaching.
oh, congratulations.
And because I can do it. Thank you. It's something that I really think would be fun because, like I said, this is my passion. This is what I do day in and day out anyways, so I might as well help other people do it too. And I want to be able to help people all over the US, if not all over the world. By doing it online, I'll be able to do that.
Yeah. How do you see yourself in competing like it's people look at it as people don't look at it as a sport. I don't know like but how do you see yourself competing like if I don't know if it's too early to ask you that because you haven't started yet, but like do you see yourself competing in the long term or
Um, so I have heard that it is addicting. I've heard
yeah.
that people usually start out going, "Oh, I'll just do one show and see how it goes," and then they get hooked, and they just love it. Um, so I will say the show that I have coming up in August is what is called a qualifier show, which, if depending on how well I do at that show, I can qualify to go to another show, and that is actually how people get their pro cards. Is when they qualify, they do a qualifying show, and then they're able to go to the next show, and they win that show. That you can actually um, become a pro.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to say what I'm gonna feel after my first show, if I'm gonna want to
Yeah.
do it again or
Yeah. Yeah,
not.
it's too early for me to ask you probably because you
Yeah,
didn't really yeah yeah 'cause it's because you haven't started like I probably have to wait for you to do like your first show or even your second show, see how you feel because like you said like there's people that when it can be addictive, so
yeah.
yeah
Yeah, I am looking forward to I kind of daydream sometimes about that feeling I'm gonna have walking across that stage with a big smile on my face. And that gets me excited. I like thinking about that and just being proud of the hard work that I've put into myself, and just giving it my all. So it's exciting. And I've been to a few shows myself and watched as a spectator, and I
yeah
find it interesting. Honestly, I actually really enjoy watching them, and just seeing everybody's so different, different genetics, different, some people, they just have different shapes to their bodies, and I just find it very interesting um to watch personally.
Yeah, I've been to a show. Well, not a show, but I've been to a few shows. I've been to the New York Pro, and I've been to a couple of OCB shows. As a spectator. I mean, like it's not. It's different than other sports. It's not like a lucrative sport or a mainstream sport like that. And so, yeah, it's like when you're not a bodybuilder, it's a different world for me. Trying to just understand like how they do things. Some people may not even look at it as a sport. I think it's more of a discipline than a sport. I think the poses, make it a sport because they can be graceful and it can be it's how you do it, especially when people playing the music and you're in front of the stage and the crowd's cheering for you and stuff like that, and then the judges I know there's competitors, they can be, I would say, intimidated by the judges because they don't know what the judges are thinking, and that can be frustrating too as well. You know.
Well, and you have to remember, you don't know who's going to show up.
Yeah.
You don't know who your competition is until you're there. And you heard stories where people show up and they have literally one other person that they're competing against,
Yeah.
or they have 10 other people they're competing against, and they're really in really good shape. So you never know like who you're going to be up against. The other thing is you don't know what those judges are looking for, because judges can be biased, or they can have their own idea of what they think looks good, and that can vary judge to judge too. So there's a lot of variables actually to consider, and it's kind of like you just have to do your best to look your best and hope for the best, I guess,
Yeah.
is what it comes down to, because you walk in not really knowing what to expect as far as that goes. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, would you, nah, I don't want to. I don't want to ask you that question because I was gonna ask you like what you need to work on, what you think you need to work on.
Oh,
You
as far
know.
as my physique?
Yeah.
Okay, so this actually, it's funny that you asked that because I used to think I had like really good shoulders. I usually get complimented on my shoulders. And so I'm thinking, oh, I got shoulders in the bag. I got to work on my lower body, is what I was thinking. And then the other day, a friend of mine, he's an IFBB pro. He's competed like 25 times. He goes to my gym and he comes up to me and I'm kind of picking his brain. I'm like, what do you think I need to work on? He goes, well, you need to work on your shoulders a little bit. You need to build your shoulders up a little bit. And I'm like, seriously? Because I was like, that's what I thought I had in the bag. And you just told me I got to work on shoulders. I was thinking lower body. And so, I mean,
Yeah.
what it comes down to is, especially for figure, he was telling me that I just need to have a very asymmetrical look. They want that X frame. They want the tiny waist, broad shoulders, you know, they want, it's all about proportions really. So the smaller you can make your waist look, which is done through building your shoulders and building your bottom half, is how you create that illusion of a smaller waist if you don't have a super small waist. So it's all about creating those perfect proportions is what it comes down to. I think I need to work on like probably glutes and my quads, because it's funny because I'm not a big fan of working my lower body, and a lot of women love working lower body, and I'm the complete opposite. I could work
Yeah.
upper body every day, but I have to remind myself to work lower body so I have that balanced look to my physique.
Yeah. Unless you want to be in wellness, it's,
I don't
they,
have
they,
I don't have but for well.
yeah. Nah, I'm saying like
The hips
I'm
and the
sorry. I
bottom
mean,
half for wellness,
yeah.
but and I've been told that I'm too hard and muscular for bikini,
Oh,
but I'm not
okay.
quite big enough for physique. That's what puts me in figure. If I wanted to do physique, I'd have to build a lot more muscle.
Yeah. Well, I
I'm
mean,
pretty
like,
lean.
yeah. And I was saying like there's bikini competitors that look like your friend that got your frame. They look like they could be in figure, you know, and that's the thing
Yeah,
too.
I
Like,
feel
no, I was just saying real quick, like sometimes they double dip. They tend to they'll be like in bikini, and then they're in figure and all that stuff, So
so. I've heard that what they look for in bikini is basically a woman that looks good in a bikini, like someone you'd want to see walking on the beach that just, has a nice female figure in a bikini. They're not so much looking for muscle in bikini. They're not really concerned with, yeah, having a ton of muscle. And so that's why I'm looking at figure, because I think maybe I have too much muscle for bikini. But I have noticed that bikini has gotten more muscular over the years. It used to not be that way, but I feel like it's
yeah,
changing a little.
they have the fit model division. It just
Mhm.
came out. Yeah, I'm sure you're aware of that. Like, you have any thoughts about it, or you're not certain?
For me personally doing it,
Yeah. No, I'm no, not you, but like, do
oh,
you like how do you see fit model? Like
I'm having a hard time differentiating between fit model and bikini, to be honest. I'm trying to
right.
figure out where the difference lies in it, because I kind of see it as very similar.
Yeah. Yeah, there's this a fellow YouTuber of mine. He hosts like Muscle Talk Monday. His name is All Ray George Page, and he talks about the distinctive of bikini and fit model. They I think they brought it to kind of like to attract the mainstream audience, because they really like society, it doesn't really favor women with muscles. So if they see, the fit model division, I don't know what kind of impact it would get, but you know, I think from me understanding it, it's to attract people in society because they
Right.
don't they don't really pay attention to bodybuilding like that. So yeah,
Well, and it absolutely changes once you get to pro level.
yeah,
Like, I will say the shows that are natural shows
yeah,
versus non-natural shows will be very different, because now you're dealing with people who are taking performance enhancing drugs and are on a way different level, and the physiques are going to reflect that
yeah,
in the pro shows. Like, if you're looking at people who are trying to get their IFBB pro card, they're on PEDs. So you can't, they're going to look way different than a natural athlete would. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Speaking of the devil, all of Ray's George Page is here. Yeah, yeah. He does Muscle Talk Monday. He's not really crazy about fit model and stuff like that. He kind of loves it. He's more of a hardcore women's bodybuilder and stuff. And he also says even bikini is taking peds and roids.
I know Anavar is big in the bikini world.
Yeah,
I don't know about steroids, but I know Anavar is a big one. Yeah.
yeah. I've heard of it. What is that like? If you could help me understand that.
Anavar?
Yeah, Anavar. Like what is?
I actually don't know too much about it.
Yeah,
I believe it's very good at just maintaining muscle while being able to become very lean, because that's the big challenge usually for people. It's easy to put on muscle when you're eating more calories, but then you usually put on fat in the process as well, because you're taking in more calories, and people don't want the extra fat, so they'll take a performance enhancing drug that
mm,
will allow them to build and maintain their muscle but still remain lean, because that's the ultimate goal. I've been accused many times of being on
of taking
Anavar.
it. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
It sounds kind
and
of dangerous. I think not excuse me, cut you off, but there was a young lady. She passed away, and
yep,
I don't know. She was taking certain things, and people didn't know about it. But she passed away because of certain things she was taking. I don't know if it was that, but she had a thing where she was a binge eater too, and so them things was complicated. Somebody had that mentality of like wanting to stay lean or whatever, and they taking certain amount of drugs, and so I don't know.
yeah. There's a lot of, it's very sad and very unfortunate. There's a lot of
Yeah,
young people in this fitness realm that abuse drugs,
yeah,
don't take care of their bodies, and do it a very unhealthy way, and they end up having heart attacks at like 20. I think
yeah,
if you're talking about the girl, I think you're talking about, I think she was 20 years old,
yeah,
and that's
yeah, 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 yeah. I forgot her name already. Uh
yeah,
yeah. He says,
yeah.
no, go ahead. Say what.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, you start taking those things, and people tend to overdo it as well. They tend to think, oh, this isn't enough, I need to take more, I need to take more, and they just keep bumping up the dosages and just overdoing it, and their body can't handle it.
Yeah. He says, yeah, yes. Joy Van, she died from dehydration, taking diuretics. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I remember she did an interview and she was saying that she was a binge eater too. So that
Yeah.
that's complicated, and you doing that diuretics. I heard about that one. That's a very risky thing to do. So yeah, but
Yeah, it's unfortunate that people go to such extreme measures to, I don't even think she was competing at the time. I think.
Yeah,
I thought
yeah.
she was a
She was.
spectator at a
Yeah,
show.
yeah. I heard
Yeah.
that too. She was a spectator. Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, I know you have like a YouTube channel. I don't want to forget that. So, to
So
check it
I'm
out a
on
bit.
Instagram,
Yeah.
where I post my workout videos, and I do nutrition information on there. I'm going to start doing my online coaching in the next couple months, and I do have a YouTube channel that is just getting started, but I am going to be putting more fitness and health and fitness content on my YouTube channel as well. So yeah, check it out.
Yeah. I subscribe, so
Okay,
anything I got you. Yeah.
thank you.
So, yeah. I mean, do you have any last words, or I think it was other things I wanted to touch. So you was in a band. Like, what did you play in the band?
All right. So I started in band in sixth grade, and I played trumpet. And I played
Okay.
from sixth grade all through high school. I was in marching band, and I was in a marching drum and bugle corps even after I graduated high school. I still have my trumpet from sixth grade, and I get it out every Christmas time to play Christmas songs because I enjoy it. And
Right.
I loved being in band. I know it's a nerdy thing, but I can honestly say I enjoy being in band. And I did not want to play sports. I did not want to do anything physical. Um, I didn't feel coordinated. I felt awkward. It just wasn't my thing. I
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Give me a minute.
No problem.
Hold on. Let me. I'll play
But I am so glad that it is Friday. It has been a week. How about you guys? It has been a week. So I just wanted to share with you something uh, that I've been thinking about. And so when you become a parent, there's certain things that you are told to be prepared for. And there's something that I guess I wasn't fully prepared for when I became a parent. Something that I've learned through the years is that everything that your child is feeling, everything that your child is going through, all of the experiences that your child experiences throughout life, you are going to feel what they feel. You're going to experience what they experience. And it's on a level that I can't even fully explain. If you're a parent, you'll understand. Now, when you have friends, people you care about in life, to a certain extent, you have sympathy for them, you have empathy for them. When they're going through a hard time, when they're going through a difficult time or struggling in life, you feel bad for them. That's what friends do. You feel bad for them. You feel sad. If maybe you'll feel angry if they're angry. On the flip side, if they're going through something amazing that's bringing them a lot of joy, a lot of excitement, you'll be excited for them. You'll be happy for them, right? So when you're a parent and your kids experience things throughout their life, you become an extension of them in a sense. Whatever they're feeling, whatever they're experiencing, you're going to feel and experience the same thing on a level that I personally have never experienced with anybody else. you become an extension of them. Whatever they're going through, you feel it to your core. You feel what they're feeling on another level. It's a molecular level, whether they're sad, whether they're mad, whether they're hurt, whether they're excited or happy, you're going to feel exactly what they're feeling to your core. And this is something that I wasn't fully prepared for when I became a parent. And the frustrating thing is that it's not like when you yourself are having these feelings or the experiences, you have control over how you feel and how you react, right? You can control how you handle certain situations, how you feel about certain situations. When your child is experiencing something, whether it's positive or negative, whether they're extremely sad or extremely happy, all of a sudden you are feeling these feelings that they're feeling, but you have no control of the situation. You can't change the feelings. And that is quite possibly the most helpless, frustrating feeling in the world, when you're feeling this sadness that your child is feeling, or you're feeling the anger that your child is feeling, but you can't change it. Yeah, you can give them advice, you can talk to them, and you can try to help them, but when it comes down to things, you can't change what they're feeling. You will just feel it yourself, and there's nothing you can do about that feeling. I just wanted to share that with you guys. Any of you that are parents, I'm sure you fully understand this. Until you become a parent, I don't know if you will ever understand it, because as I said, feeling sympathy or empathy for your friends is so much different. It's yes, you care about them and you feel bad when they're sad, and you don't want them to be sad. And of course, you're excited when they're excited and you're happy when they're happy. But until you have children, and until your child experiences something in life where they have these emotions, they have these feelings, and you take on those same emotions and those same feelings, it is something I can't even explain fully. It's something that you have to experience. But anyways, it's been a week. It's been a week full of a lot of emotions. And I've been feeling feeling that burden of a parent. But anyways, happy Friday. Hope the weekend treats you all very well, and take care.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I'm not a parent, so I'm already dealing with taking care of my parents. So but what was you thinking making that video?
I remember what prompted that video for me. So, like I said, I have two teenage daughters, and at the time I made that video, my oldest daughter was, I think, in 7th grade. And my oldest daughter is tall and thin, and she has always hated that she's tall and thin. She doesn't like that, and that particular video was prompted by something that happened to her at school that upset her. It was actually a comment that was made by one of her teachers regarding her body. He was concerned that she was not eating, and he expressed this concern to her one day and said, "Are you eating? You're so thin. Are you sure you're eating and taking care of yourself?" And she absolutely is. She absolutely eats. She's just naturally thin, and she's hated that. And she basically came home in tears that day because she felt bullied by her teacher. Even though he was expressing concern for her, he triggered that in her. He triggered something that was bothering her, and it upset her. And I felt so bad for her because I know that that's something that she was unhappy with about herself. And to have a teacher point it out and ask her if she's healthy, asking her if she's eating, triggered some emotions in her. And as her mom, I was emotional as well, because when you have children, there's like I don't know how to describe it. You're connected. Your hearts are connected, which means your emotions are connected. And I felt, even though it wasn't happening to me, I felt her pain. I felt her emotions as if they were my own. And that's what I was describing in the video, was because it wasn't even something that happened to me, but I felt as though it was happening to me, because when you're a parent, that's just the connection you have with your kids.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, like do you work out with her? Like go to the gym? Like did she go to the gym? Oh,
I
yeah.
work with both of my daughters. I take them to me. They don't last very long. I want to
Oh,
be there for
okay.
2 hours, and they're bored after 45 minutes. They're like, "Mom, can we be done?" So I don't do it very often, but I have done it because it's a good way to bond. That's something too. If you guys have, kids that are old enough to go to the gym with you, or even work out with you at home, I highly recommend it, because it's a bonding experience for both of you. It's obviously good for your kids to exercise and be healthy. And I try to set a good example for my kids as far as being healthy. I try, because I have daughters and I'm sensitive to things like eating disorders and unhealthy body image. I absolutely don't talk about, their weight. I don't pick apart their bodies or any of that, because I absolutely know that's a huge problem, especially for young. Uh, so I just try to make it, move your body, exercise. It's good for you. Eat healthy. It's good to put healthy things in your body. Feel your body properly. I try to make sure I'm very careful about how I word things with my kids, because the
Yeah.
last thing I want is to put unhealthy thoughts in their heads.
Yeah. I don't have kids, so like, I don't. Do you have a husband, or does he talk to them or something like that, or I don't know.
I'm actually not
Oh.
with him anymore.
Oh, okay.
But yes, I do
Okay.
have a dad. Yes.
Okay, okay. I ain't gonna go there. I ain't gonna go too deep. But like, yeah. Let me see. He means Jody Vance. Yeah, Jody Vance. That was the young lady. It's yeah. So you weren't athletic. I mean, or like you didn't play sports. Like
So
what was this? No, go ahead, because you seem like
so
you got.
so to give you an idea of where I was as a young woman, I did play volleyball in 6th grade. I was on the volleyball team, but the only reason I was on the volleyball team was because my best friend went out for the volleyball team, and I wanted to
Okay.
hang out with my best friend. I was the young, and it was fun. I enjoyed it, but I mostly did it just to be with my best friend. And I don't know if you can relate to this, but when I was in school during physical education, we would have days where we would play sports like baseball, or I guess softball, or dodgeball. You'd have a sport day. And my main goal, anytime we were playing some sort of sport, was to get the least amount of contact, the least amount of effort I could. So when we played softball, I chose to be in the outfield. I didn't want to have anything to do with the game or the ball. I was praying, hoping and praying that the ball wouldn't come to me. And I'm like, I'm going to be out in the outfield. And I was chatting with my best friend the whole time out in the outfield. And sure enough, the ball would come towards me. I wouldn't catch it. And everybody would be mad at me because I wasn't paying attention, because I
Yeah,
didn't
you
want to
wasn't
play.
focused. Yeah.
Um, during dodgeball,
Right.
I used people as human shields to shield myself. I didn't want to get involved. I literally hid behind people so I didn't have to play, didn't have to make contact with the ball. I am not even joking. That is how much I hated sports when I was growing up. So the fact that I am now in love with working out and exercising, that it is a
Yeah.
true passion of mine, is a miracle.
Yeah, I mean, I could relate a little bit. I wasn't good at sports or really like so focused on it. I think it took me like when I was like 17 years old. I did play football, but I wasn't like athletically, talented like that. My coordination wasn't great. I would kind of like play defense. Like if they needed me to stop the quarterback, somebody that got the ball, probably or stick my man, like if he moving to stop him from getting the ball or anything like that. Yeah, that. And so what I think like maybe like not maybe, but basketball was like a sport that I would be consistent on playing. Really, I tried on volleyball, but I wasn't good at it either. But basketball, I would say that I was consistent on it playing. Like I wasn't good, but
Yeah.
it was I would get better each. Like it took me time. I didn't have anybody to teach me. I remember one time this guy he taught me how to shoot, but it wasn't like consistent, and it was I would forget. I would have to learn from other people again and stuff. It was trials and error. I don't want to make it long, but I kind of relate a little bit on your thing, So yeah. So you got another. Hey, Clyde and Kristen. Hope you two are having a blessed Sunday. Yes, we are.
Thank
Yeah,
you. Thank you for
yeah,
that.
yeah. So I mean, I don't want to take you hostage. I really appreciate you sharing your thoughts and stuff, and I hope you do good on your first show.
Thank you.
You, yeah, yeah. I mean, if you do when you do compete, hopefully you come back and tell your experience. And yeah,
Yeah, I'd
yeah,
love that.
yeah.
Well, thank you for
So
your time.
yeah, yeah. And Kristen, if you were running it and could change anything about the sport or the industry, what would it be and why? Well, she's not competing now. So could you answer it? I don't know.
Change anything about the sport? I'm assuming they're referring to
Bodybuilding. Yeah, she hasn't competed yet. So, do you have any
um
dislikes or anything like that to answer his question?
I anything I could change. That's
Don't
difficult.
ponder it too much. If you can't answer it, you can't answer it. That's all.
Yeah, I kind of feel like I need to experience it first to be able to fully
Yeah,
answer that question.
yeah. She hasn't competed yet.
Yeah,
When she competes, I'm sure she'll
I'll
be
get
able
back
to
to you on
answer.
that.
Yeah. So let me leave you alone. I really appreciate it. Her info is in the description. Guys, be respectful. Yeah, and I really appreciate you giving me the opportunity to talk
Thank
with
you.
you. All right.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity.
You're welcome.